Okay. Okay. So when we are talking about exchange rates, I think we all have like a basic understanding of what exchange rate is, and so it's basically talking about different currencies. All right, and different countries we have different currencies. Uh, that yeah. So when you talk about like in the U.S. they are using USD. In European countries they are using euro. All right. In Hong Kong we use Hong Kong dollars. In China we use RMB. Right. Okay. And but there's one common thing among different countries. Is that when the businesses they are trading within the country, okay, they always use their own currency. So if you are trying to buy something from other countries, you cannot really use your own currency to buy those things. All right, you have to convert your currency into their currency in order to do so, in order to do the business or do your consumption. Okay, so that's one major concept that we need to realize at this point. Okay, all right, yeah, is that you cannot use your own money to buy things from other countries. You have to first do that conversion before you do so. Okay, all right. But here, let's take a look of this. It is just a basic exchange rate definition that you have. So when we are trying to define exchange rate, please don't forget, it's not just about the value of your money. Okay, all right. When you are talking about exchange rate, it's not just about the value of your money, because it's an exchange rate. Okay, you are trying to see the value of your money compared to other countries. All right, yeah, the words compared to other countries, they are so important when you are trying to define exchange rate. So don't forget, when you are trying to define exchange rate, not only you are trying to say, all right, is the value of one country's currency, but it is in terms of comparing to other currencies. Okay, so that's why it's a relative value. It's a relative value when you are talking about exchange rate. Okay, all right. So make sure you remember that. So here's one very quick example for you. So one USD is equal to approximately 7.8 HKD. Okay, yeah, you see the comparison here, right? Okay, so it's not just about one country's currency. It's about what you are comparing to. Okay, so that's exchange rate. That's exchange rate. And when we are trading when we are trading currencies, we always trade the currencies in the foreign exchange market. Okay, so it's just like the normal goods and services that we are buying and selling. When we are talking about like physical goods and services, there are always different markets. But when we are talking about buying and selling currencies, there are also different markets, and we call those markets a foreign exchange market. And the thing that interesting about buying and selling currencies in a foreign exchange market is that the market, you may not be able to see it physically. Okay, all right, you may not be able to see the foreign exchange market physically, so you don't have to really physically go to that so-called foreign exchange market in order to buy or sell different currencies. All right, they can be anywhere. You can buy currencies in the bank. You can buy currencies in some other, like a currency traders. You can buy currencies from other people. They can be all foreign exchange markets. Okay, all right. So yeah, you can even buy or sell your foreign exchange online. That's why it's very flexible when we talk about foreign exchange market. Okay, all right. Yeah. And so guys, can you take a look of this table here? Yeah. You may need it in the future, right? Yeah. So, can you guys tell me the reasons why would you need to convert your money into other currencies? Can you just give me as many reasons as possible? Okay, international trading. Yeah, that's good. Use it when traveling. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, that's cool. Collection, yeah, that's also true. Yeah, that's also true. Okay, because yeah, that one will be a little more complicated when you are talking about like collection of currencies, because yeah, some currencies when people they see they have like extra value, like when they are not being circulated in the economy anymore, they may have a way higher value than the amount being stated within the paper. So yeah, that's also true. But it could be because of some personal preferences. Yeah, you're trying to collect different currencies. Um, right. Okay. To save the value if one becomes useless. Yeah, that's also true. Some people they invest in foreign currencies, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's also good. Yeah. So Merrick and Julian, I think yeah, these 2 points are related. Yeah, yeah, the big crocodile. Um, can you tell me one of the most famous big crocodiles? Yeah, that we have seen in the history. Do you have a name? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Some people. That American fun company thing. There's one very famous person. If you are talking about that big crocodile. Yeah. His name is George Soros. Yeah, George Soros. If you are interested, you can go ahead and do some research. Yeah, he has some very interesting stories, like how he, yeah, use the hedge fund, trying to earn as much money as possible. Especially, he's trying to manipulate, the exchange rates and everything. But that topic we'll be discussing it in IB. Yeah. Right. But here, I think you guys has some very good idea on why we need to convert currencies. Yeah, because in our daily lives there are just so many things that we can do, or we need to do when we have to convert the currencies. But when you are looking at this table here, do you see something interesting? I just want someone to explain it to me. So you see the exchange rates, right? Yeah, for different currencies. So let's say we are using RMB as an example here. Okay. Uh, we see two sets of exchange rates. Can someone explain it to me? Like why we have like two sets of exchange rates? What are they talking about? Yeah, why isn't it just one set of exchange rate? Why do they need like two sets of exchange rates? What is? Oh, okay. The bank earn the difference in between. Yeah, that's very good. Okay. Right. So when you sell your RMB to bank in order to get HKD, then it would be bank buy. All right. Yeah, that's very good, guys. Yeah, that's very good. So when you are going on traveling, yeah, you will see this quite a lot. Okay, so make sure you are reading the right thing before you convert your currency. Okay, otherwise, you'll be miscalculating, the cost of your traveling. All right. So when you see something called, okay, we buy or bank buy, yeah, or we sell or bank sell, right? So you need to understand some very key concept. So when we are looking at this bank buy, it means this is the exchange rate when the bank is buying your RMB. So when you are selling RMB to your bank, then that is going to be the rate. Okay, they are accepting. All right. But when you are buying RMB from the bank, you have to use the other exchange rate, which is here. Okay, which is here, 1.16465, right there. Okay, so you see the difference here, and when you're looking at the exchange rates here, okay, when the bank is selling you the RMB, the exchange rate right here, okay, is 1.16, right? So in order to get $1 of RMB, you have to pay 1.16 HKD. All right, when you're buying the RMB from this bank here. Okay, so let's say now you are paying 1.16 HKD for 1 RMB, right? Okay, so now you have 1 RMB, and now you are being stupid and you immediately try to convert that $1 of RMB back to the Hong Kong dollars. Then they will be using this other exchange rate, which is 1.15. Basically, when you are transfer it back to the Hong Kong dollar, you are losing the difference. Okay, you are losing the difference. Yes, exactly, guys. All right, so that's how they make money. That's how they make money. And yeah, so guys, do not get confused when you are traveling. All right, because you really need to understand which one you are looking at when you are converting the money. Yeah, buying or selling. All right, yeah, that will help you. Okay, all right, yeah. But the thing is, no, they are not really evil. All right, you just need to think about it using like rationality. Okay, banks need to survive, and that's why they need to become profit maximization. So they need to earn something. All right, otherwise, why would they open the bank if they cannot earn any profits? So yeah, so that's very rational when you think about it. Okay, yeah, because they are not doing things for charity, or you know what I mean. Okay, they do it for a living, right? Okay, so there you go. And yeah, so you guys just answer these questions here. So I'm not going to. Well, I mean, you guys just answered the first question here. All right, so we're just gonna move on to the second question. Do you know what affects the value of currencies? Yeah, before we talk about what affects the value of currency, I just want to see if some of you know about it. Yeah, because the currency, the exchange rate is changing every day. But do we know what really causes the change of the exchange rate? Yeah, because if we know what causes the change in exchange rate, then we can actually predict the future value of the exchange rate, and so that maybe for some of you, you can make some profits out of exchange rate. Yeah. So okay, so let's see. Okay, supply of money. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Military power, economic power of the country. Okay, that one here, I would assume you're saying like government intervention. Yeah, that's also true. That's also true. Yeah, we will talk about it very soon. Okay, wow, there are many comments here. If the Fed keep printing money, then the value of USD will fall. Okay, okay. They have national debts that can still control stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. The fact that oil is traded with USD makes it invincible. Okay, all right. So that's gonna be another topic. All right, but I appreciate the comments that you guys had. James, the demand for imports and exports. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well that's also a good point. Yeah. Right. Okay. Good. Good. Yeah, the other points are also very good. Yeah. Yeah, good opinions. So now, I'm going to explain the causes. The causes of the change in currencies bit by bit. All right. Well, for this summary here, I'm just gonna let you watch it in your free time if you if you're interested watching it on YouTube. It's just a very quick summary on the introduction of exchange rates. Okay. So usually, all right, there are two mechanisms that determines the currency values. Okay, so in IGCSE, we will learn about these two mechanisms. But when you go to IB, there will be a third mechanism. But here, yeah, we just have to focus on the two. All right. So make sure you remember the two of them, because they will be extremely important. All right. So for this chapter here, these two mechanisms will be the most important part. Within this chapter here. Okay. So the first one we'll call it the floating exchange rate. Okay, the floating exchange rate system. And the second one we'll call that the fixed exchange rate system. And I can tell you, in the reality, in the real life situation, you will not be able to find either one of them. Okay, all right, you listen carefully. Yeah, well, even though it's not within the curriculum, but I'm just going to tell you right now. In the reality, there's no country using either pure floating exchange rate or fixed exchange rate. Okay, yeah, basically all the countries around the world, or I would say most of the countries around the world, they would have like a mixture of the both. They will have the mixture of the both. Okay, well, but anyway, if you're interested, you can do some more research. But if you're not, then maybe you will learn about why this is the case in IB. Okay, all right, yeah. But you just need to know we have like two exchange rate system to study. Okay, all right. So now I'm gonna go through the first one, the floating exchange rate system first. Okay, and see how it works. So I know, guys, when you look at this picture here, this is how I visualize floating exchange rate system. Yeah, I know it looks very bizarre, but yeah. Let's take a look of the picture here. So you see a monkey in the sea. Okay, so if you apply different terminologies to different objects that you see in the picture here, then things will make sense. Okay, when we are talking about floating exchange rate, okay, the word floating here, it means you are going to expect the exchange rate is going to fluctuate quite a lot. All right, and the reason why the exchange rate fluctuates a lot is because the value of the exchange rate is only based on the demand and supply of the currencies. All right, so when there's a change in demand for one currency, or when there's a change in supply in one currency, the value of it will be changed. Okay, all right. So so just like here, yeah, if this monkey represents your current currency value, then when this monkey is in the sea, then you can imagine, because of the waves, right, is going up and down every second. Okay, which means the demand and supply for your currency in the foreign exchange market changes every second. So when there's a change in demand and supply, then your currency value will be changed. So you can just imagine this monkey will be floating in the sea quite a lot every day, or just like this. All right, yeah. Do you get it? Do you get the idea? All right. You see here, right? So there you go. So this is one very simple mechanism that we see about exchange rate. Okay, all right. It's all about the demand and supply for the currencies, and yeah, and you see here, we would have some terminologies when we are talking about the floating exchange rate system. Okay, all right. So now we know when we are talking about floating exchange rate system, right? It is all depending on the demand and supply on the currency. Okay, all right. Yeah. So if we assume there are only two currencies in this world, okay, if we supply more of our domestic currency, what do you think will happen to the value of our currency? Can you imagine like what will happen when we supply more of our domestic currency? Okay, we'll go down. All right, so that's very good. That's very good. All right, just like the normal demand and supply on different goods and services, you can actually draw yourself a DNS diagram to explain this. Okay, so when you draw it, then you will also see the price of that currency will go down when you supply more of your currency. Okay, all right. But for some of you, you may be confusing by now. Like, what do you mean by supplying your domestic currency? So basically, you are saying when you're selling your own currency. Okay, all right. Because when you are trying to convert your currency into some other currencies, you have to sell your currency first in order to buy some other currencies. So the term supply of domestic currency is basically saying when you are converting your money into some other money. All right, all right. So if more and more people they are converting their own currency into some other currencies, then the domestic currency, the value will definitely go down. Okay, will definitely go down. All right. Okay. So for that, we would call that depreciation. Okay, depreciation. Okay, all right. Yeah, when the value of the currency is going down, we don't say okay the value is going down. All right, we would say there is a depreciation, or you would say the currency is depreciating. All right, okay. But what about here? What if suddenly so many people they are trying to convert their money into your currency? So which means the demand for your currency is going up. So what will happen to your currency value because of this? Yeah, it's just the opposite. All right. So for this opposite situation, what kind of terminology would you use to describe it? Yeah, appreciation. All right. So that's it. Okay. So that's how easy it is for floating exchange rate. All right. So as long as you know the drill here, then you will understand why the currency is appreciating or depreciating. Okay, so part of the major reasons is because of the demand and supply. Okay, all right. So when you look at the foreign exchange market, like right now or tomorrow, when you see changes, this could be one of the major reasons. Okay, yeah, is because of the change in demand and supply on different currencies. Okay, all right, yeah. So there you go. So if you understand this concept here, then you will have no problem at all for this part. All right, because that's all for this part. Okay, so that's how currency works. That's how exchange rates work. Okay, when you are talking about floating exchange rate system. All right, is there any questions that you would like to ask here regarding the floating exchange rate? Are we good? So now I will show you a mind map. Yeah, that will give you an idea like how it works structurally. Okay, structurally. So let's say if Hong Kong wants to import goods from US, and also they want to invest in US. So what do we need to do if we want to achieve the two objectives here? Yep, right. Yeah. So first of all, you need to get USD. Right. Okay. Robin, I like that answer. We need to sell HKD and then and then buy USD. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you see here, this is going to be how how it works. You have two parties here, Hong Kong and US, and when they're trading the currencies, they are trading the currencies within the foreign exchange market. So when Robin was saying selling Hong Kong dollar and buy USD, that process will be done in this foreign exchange market. Okay, will be done in this foreign exchange market. So step one here, we supply Hong Kong dollar to the market. Okay, so that means we're selling Hong Kong dollar to the market. And then step two, right? Yeah. So you see here, when you are doing that, all right, the first implication to your dollar, to your Hong Kong dollar, will be a depreciation. All right, because we know when we supply more of our currency will be depreciating. All right. So once you have done your first step, then the first effect to your HKD will be a depreciation. Does it make sense? Okay. And then when you go to step two, so once you have sold the Hong Kong dollar to the market, then you will be buying the USD. So when you're buying the USD, what do you think will happen to the value of USD? will increase. Exactly, right? Because now the demand for USD increases because of you trying to buy USD. All right? So whenever there's one action happening in the foreign exchange market, you will see a both-sided effect. All right, you will see a both-sided effect whenever there is an action for currency. Okay, so let's say this is the action. Yeah, if Hong Kong wants to import goods from US or to invest in US, you will see the both-sided effect, right? You will see the Hong Kong dollar is depreciating, and at the same time, because of that action, the US dollar is appreciating. Okay, all right, so they happen simultaneously. All right, this effect happens simultaneously. Okay, all right, yeah. So that's how it works. That's how it works. Does it make sense to you? Okay, so this is the most simple method to understand how exchange rates work. All right, so this is the most simple, all right, interpretation for exchange rate. Do we have any questions so far? Yeah, because to some students they may get kind of confused by now, but so if you see any questions or confusion, yeah, just just raise out the questions. Are we good here? Okay, all right. So here, take a look at this diagram. Very simple demand and supply diagram, but now you are using the demand and supply diagram to show the change in value for one currency. Okay, so within this diagram, you are looking at the market of US dollar. Okay, the market of US dollar against euros. So for your so for your P axis here, for your price axis here, because now you are trying to compare your dollar to euros. Okay, so when we are talking about the price axis here, we are talking about the price of $1 in euros. Okay, so when you have $1, when you have $1, how much euro you can exchange for? So this is what we are looking at right now. So you can see the original equilibrium right here is that we were using $1 in exchange for 0.8 euro. Okay, in exchange for 0.8 euro. All right. Okay, does it make sense? But because of something happening here in in the foreign exchange market, yeah, because maybe there are more. There are more people. They are trying to travel in the U.S. and that's why they needed the U.S. dollar. Okay, and that increases the demand for U.S. dollar, and that shifts the demand curve for the U.S. dollar to the right. Okay, when that happens, you will see the U.S. dollar is actually appreciating from $1 to 0.8 euro to $1 to 0.9 euro. Okay, all right, does it make sense to you? So you can explain it in written words. At the same time, you can also explain this process here in the diagram. All right. So it's just normal demand and supply. Okay, it's just normal demand and supply. All right. So you just need to realize the both axes here, like what you should write for both axes. I will give you some hints here. For your quantity axis, the quantity of money that you're referring to, it depends on which currency you are focusing on. In this diagram, we are focusing on the US dollar. And that is why for your quantity axis, you are talking about the quantity of US dollar. All right, the quantity of US dollar right here. Okay, and for the price axis, it is always the price of your money that you are trying to focus on in terms of the other currency that you are trying to compare. Okay, so in this case, you are comparing your dollar, which is US dollar, to euros. And that's why here on this axis, you are trying to say the price of $1 in euro. Okay, $1 in euro. Okay, if you are trying to compare US dollar to RMB, then this axis will become the price of $1 in RMB. All right, it depends on what you are trying to compare. Okay, all right, yeah. Yes, Robin, you can say that. You can say that because we know when there's one action happening, there will be a both-sided effect. So when US dollar is appreciating because of this situation here, it means the euro is actually depreciating at the same time. All right, yeah. So you are totally correct about this. Okay, yeah, right. So that's good. Good guys. Good. Yeah, good one. All right. So so let's see. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if you understand what we have just learned. Okay. So let's say look at this question here on the top. So if there are more demand, okay, of PS5 from Japan, so what do you think will happen to the HKD and also the Japanese yen? Can you tell me what will happen to the HKD and Japanese yen when we demand more PS5 from Japan? Okay. So what will happen to the Japanese yen? Thank you. That's very good. That's very good, guys. Okay, so there you go. So there you go. You guys are absolutely correct about this. All right? So that makes the exchange rate change. Okay? So when we demand more PS5, we need more Japanese yen because when we are buying PS5 from Japan, we need the yen. Okay, we cannot just use the Hong Kong dollars to buy the PS5 from Japan. All right? When we do so, okay, the demand for Japanese yen will increase, and that makes the Japanese yen appreciate. Okay, but at the same time, when we supply more HKD for more Japanese yen, our Hong Kong dollar will depreciate. Okay, all right, so that's how it works. And what about this one here? So let's say more mainland tourists, they really like the egg tarts that we have in Hong Kong. So can you tell me what will happen to the Hong Kong dollar and also the RMB? Yeah, so for the second question here, I just want to know the change in value for Hong Kong dollar and RMB. Okay, all right. So RMB will depreciate and Hong Kong dollar will appreciate. That is absolutely correct. All right, because now, hey, we see more demand. We see a higher demand for Hong Kong dollar because so many mainlanders, they would love to come to Hong Kong and buy some egg tarts, and they need the Hong Kong dollars in order to buy the egg tarts, right? Okay, so they need to convert the RMB into Hong Kong dollars in order to buy the egg tarts, in Hong Kong. Okay, with that being said, there's a higher demand in Hong Kong dollar, and that's why Hong Kong dollar appreciates and RMB depreciates. Does it make sense? Okay, all right. Are we good? Are you okay with this? Do you have any questions so far? Okay, so this is how exchange rates work. This is how exchange rates work. All right, yeah, is this straightforward? Yeah, but in the reality, you also have to consider sometimes different governments, they manipulate the currencies, and that's why it makes the foreign exchange market much more complicated. All right, yeah. So but here we are trying to understand the concept behind how it works. All right, so I hope based on this concept you have better understanding on why the currency value is changing every day. Okay, yeah, this is part of the reason. Okay, another reason will be because of the government intervention. Yeah, and that is way harder to predict. Okay, that is way harder to predict. Yeah. Yeah, Robin. So China loves to do that so they can import cheaper when they want and earn more when they want exporting. Yeah, some countries they always manipulate the currencies in order to encourage exports or encourage cheaper imports. So, well, we'll see. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Okay, all right. So there you go. All right, so there you go. And I'm going to stop it here. All right. So if you see any questions, feel free to yeah, send me some questions. Happy to answer your questions. And I'm going to give you guys a homework. Yeah, because it's getting closer to exam, and this is what we must do. Okay, we must do more practice from now on. So I'll send you the homework. I'm gonna give you a week to finish the homework. It's just another practice. Yeah, it's like a very simple 20-mark practice. So this is the question, and you will find it on Google Classroom. All right. So make sure you finish the homework before the deadline. Okay. All right. So there you go. All right. So guys, I'm gonna end it right here. Is there any questions? Okay, if not, then I'll see you guys next week then. All right. Okay, guys. Bye bye.